Hey guys, how are you? I am having a wonderful time with technical difficulties. I am actually working on a lot of technical difficulty, but that's okay. So let's see. I want to change this camera. Wow. So, what we're going to talk about is something that is on a whole lot of people's minds, and you may or may not. I'm having an insane amount of technical difficulty. I'm going to tell you what, it's good to see you here. I appreciate that, Edgar. And while I try to figure this hot mess out, I'm going to tell you today's discussion is actually very huge, in my opinion. A lot of folks are on the fence if alcoholism is a choice or a disease. Now, I've been around a long time and I was an active alcoholic for 23 years. And I apologize if I don't have a picture here. Something's happening with my bandwidth and all that hot mess, but I'm not even going to let that bother me. So, I was an active alcoholic for 23 plus years, and I had no idea that my life was spinning out of control right before my eyes. And I could go into that story for, I don't know if you have the time for that, but that's another video or live stream with no picture. I've been living sober for 7 years, and I can tell you unequivocally, I did not wake up and say, let me see how I can screw up my life today. And maybe let me see how I could take some things away from my family. And let me see how I can, I don't know, tank my Army career. I didn't wake up like that. My alcoholism started slowly. And, because alcoholism is a chronic disease, in my opinion, and in a lot of fact. And it escalated from there and did not stop until I almost killed myself, in which I didn't wake up and say, let me kill myself today either. So there's a whole lot of factors that went in with my history and how I feel about alcoholism. Not what I wanted to do today is first introduce myself. And then next, I wanted to see what kind of questions you guys had, because yours are probably a little more important than mine at the moment, because I'm sitting from the outside looking in now, and that's kind of hard to gauge sometimes. So I don't want to forget where I come from, and I don't want to forget who I owe my sobriety to, if that makes sense. So I'm gonna mess around with this camera just a little bit and see if I can get us a picture. And in the meantime, feel free to drop any questions you might have. I'm probably gonna get them like 60 minutes later, because this bandwidth where I'm at in my village is pretty daggone smooth. Hmm. Oh, my Lancer. I see that. Now let me, I got a picture on my test screen. I want to see if I can bring that to the camera I'm using in this live stream. Probably don't want to see my ugly mug anyway, but that's all right. Hmm. No, that's not there. I am gonna probably mumble just a little bit, but while you two folks are there and I appreciate it, I'll tell you a little more about myself. So I live in Germany. I've been living in Germany for 20 years, and give or take. I went to the States a couple times, and I'm reading. And it was okay. I went there for a couple missions, so to speak, and I was only there for probably maybe 8 years total of my 20-year career, and that was just sporadically in and out. And but the rest of the time I was in Germany, so I do not know how to turn this camera. Anyway, um, so what about you, Edgar? Where are you from? If you're still with us, we'll put a little bit of Germany's finest on in the back. Hopefully, I don't get copyrighted, but I don't think I will because I don't even have a picture right now. I had a webcam on this computer before and I took it off, and now I'm trying to use the standard desktop cam and I can't seem to flip that around. So there's one other person here. Where are you from? Something might come a little bit, but yeah. So what I wanted to get at is, you know, I I have seen thousands, thousands of views on a video I had called "My Day as an Active Alcoholic." Now I know there was a typo in the front of that where it says "My Day as a," and a couple people were nice enough to point that out, and I appreciate that. I really do, because sometimes I can stumble a little bit, and that was just helpful for me to realize that my grammatical error was noticeable to other people. Now I'm going to go on my phone, but I've seen thousands of people viewing that video, and I thought to myself, my day as an active alcoholic could not have been that interesting. As a matter of fact, it was like a tornado every single day, and not to mention, like my health was destroyed. So here I am trying to be a full time soldier and a functioning alcoholic, which was definitely a contradiction in terms. And somehow I managed to pull it off almost every single day. And it blew my mind. So that routine that I had daily as an active alcoholic was just so chaotic and so brutal. But I can imagine that my heart was probably ready to explode anyway. Edgar, I really appreciate it. Hey, you know what, Edgar? I had I had no idea, and I definitely appreciate the fact that somebody is getting something from what happened to me in my life, and perhaps it can apply to them. And that's why I always say to folks, our stories not might not be exactly spot on the same, but they are definitely similar, because alcoholics and addicts go through similar things, because our addictive personalities drive us to such lengths in order to stay drunk or stay high that it's inconceivable to somebody who wouldn't understand. Mexico City. Oh, you live in Vancouver. Right on, man. I got a retired first sergeant that lives out there. He's a pretty amazing dude. And he says Washington is the place to be. I'm out here in Germany. I retired from the Army in 2018. This is not exactly the spot that's hot, but I like it here. It's quiet. It's quiet and it takes away from my mind wandering, if that makes sense. Because I know that if I was stateside, there is so much access that I would probably find myself in a hot spot real quick. I'm I apologize. I'm really frustrated with this technical error and I'm trying to get this on my phone now because I really want to have a conversation. So, with that being said, um, so I live out here in Germany, and it's really quiet. The pace of life is nice and slow, and I'm able to breathe out here, and I'm able to, I don't know, I'm able to spread my wings, I guess, a little bit, and without all the constant back and forth and got to have this now, got to get this now attitude of the United States. I mean, I love my country, but damn, we need everything right now, immediately, and we need it in excess to the point where it's like, daggone, can we take a minute? Can we slow down? And I think that's how my sobriety is staying intact. Is that I'm not in a rush anymore. Being a soldier had a lot to do with go, 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 and everything had to be done right now. If it wasn't 10 minutes early, it was 10 minutes late, and on and on and on. And it just got to a point where I was mixing that with my insanity. And, it all came to a head, but I'm about to go into a tangent. So, what do you think, Edgar? And I appreciate you very much for stopping in. What do you think about alcoholism? Do you think it's a choice, someone's natural choice to be an alcoholic? Because I don't think anyone makes that consciously. Or do you think that it's a disease? Because that's what this discussion is. And whoever just joined, I appreciate you. And thanks for stopping in. I'm having some camera issues right now. Hopefully, you can hear me good enough on this microphone. I'm trying to work through it. And you know what? It's no loss to you. I'm going to tell you what, my face is something to be desired, but I learned to love it. So, what we're talking about, hey, Tim, what's up, man? Tim Lettuce. Right on. My name is Wayne Dornbos. So, my name is kind of a twist as well. But my channel is called One Sober to Another. And if you are subscribed, I appreciate it sincerely. And if you're not, that's awesome too. I appreciate you just dropping in. I learned to appreciate people in my recovery. I never did that as an active alcoholic. And one thing, a tangent, one thing I will say is to YouTube, hey, make it so we can have voice chat. That would be fantastic. So, um, did I just lose myself? Oh, yeah. So, one thing I learned, right, in my sobriety, and well, among many, is that learning to appreciate other people outside of yourself is a gift that cannot be returned in any kind of monetary value. And I didn't I say that a lot. I didn't understand that when I was in my drunken disorder, when I was living my insanity, and definitely not by choice. I was suffering from this disease of alcoholism. And my medication is to treat people first. Their concerns are first. That's not to say I don't care about myself, but their concerns are first. What they think is important becomes important to me. I'm able to show empathy, if that makes sense. And I didn't understand that in my long 23-year drunken history. And that sprung all the way from childhood. Edgar writes, I've moved here 3 years ago after living in Los Angeles for 30 years, where I did 20 plus years in addiction. So out in LA, man, I know LA is a rough place to be, especially if you are trying to be sober. Because I talked about that fast pace of life, right? And I can only imagine the pace of Los Angeles. If you're from the hood, if you're from Silicon Valley, whatever, it's probably insane. Good point. Good point. I'm gonna read both of these if you don't mind. Edgar writes, I've always thought it was an addiction, but since working the program, I've learned it's a horrible disease. And Tim writes, I didn't know what I was putting other people through. And those both are um, awesome points because when I was in my active alcoholism, I could care less what anyone thought. I'll be straight up honest. And if you didn't like the way I was drinking, you know what? Get lost because you're cutting into my beer time. And that was just the attitude I had. I'll tell you a story in just a moment, but speaking about putting people through stuff, this goes hand in hand. So when people were cutting into my drinking time, this one time in band camp, my wife and my son, they came to Germany to visit me. They're German. They live in a different part, and they came up unannounced, and they drove up to the installation that I was at because I didn't have a car. There ain't no way I could afford a car and drink at the same time. You know what I mean? And so they came to the gate. I had to go sign them in, and I leaned in to kiss my wife. First, I was pissed off because they didn't call ahead of time, and they were seriously cutting into my drinking time. I just filled my backpack up with another 12 pack, and I was ready to get it on. I hadn't stopped from the night before. So they're at the gate, and I lean in to kiss my wife, and she backs up aggressively, and she stares me in the face, and she's like, "You're drinking again, right?" And I was like, "No, you're dumb. I'm just tired." And so she knew I was drunk, but us being alcoholics or addicts or whatever, we think we got the world fooled. So they came up to the room and everything else, and I didn't realize that I had destroyed the visit that they had planned, and I didn't care. I was just ready to get my drink on, and my son started counting out loud, and I heard like 1, 2, 3, 4, and he got to like 100 and something. And I was like, "What the hell are you counting, man?" He goes, "This," and he points into my locker, and it's just beer bottles and beer boxes stacked to the top of the thing. And I say that to say this: I didn't realize that I was screwing them up. I didn't realize that my selfish behavior was turning into something that was on their shoulders. And that just goes with this disease, or because I didn't choose to wake up to fuck up their, or sorry, to mess up their life. And I'm sure you didn't choose to mess up someone's life either. And I learned this in my sobriety as well. You don't mess with people's money, emotions, or their hearts. And that's what I've learned as a number one rule, kind of like the golden rule, but that is more profound to me. And I'm going to get off that soapbox. You know what? I just read a comment that said, if you're not drinking, you were the weird one. Damn it, you're right. Because people who didn't want to drink like me, I was like, man, you're weak, dude. You can't pound that. Why are you stopping now? Man, we still got like 4 hours before we got to be at work. And I just wouldn't put that trigger down, if you know what I mean. And I always thought that I was just top of the chain. And if you didn't want to drink with me and you didn't drink like me, you didn't belong. And that goes again with like, putting other people through chaos and stuff like that. And I'd cuss people out. I'd tell them get the F out. And it just didn't even dawn on me that I was messing up someone's life. And I know I'm going off track here. And I see there are 5 people here. I appreciate you. Like, again, don't leave because there's no video. I'm telling you, you're not missing out on this face. But I'll be sure to fix this. I just don't want to take away from the meat and potatoes of this discussion. You know what I mean? All right. So Tim writes, yeah, Wayne, we can only ask for forgiveness and try to forgive ourselves. You know what? It took me, I've been living sober for 7 years. Eckert, thanks, man. It took me probably 2 years to get that, to understand that I have to forgive other people and I have to learn to forgive myself. That goes with making amends and doing your step 4 in Alcoholics Anonymous. Now, if that's not your thing, don't get turned off by it. But for me, that program worked, and that program is working every day, and it keeps me balanced. And but yeah, we had a selfish choice in addiction. We had a selfish choice in active alcoholism. It was all about me, me, me. Nobody else cared. Nobody else mattered, and nobody else could give me what my drunk was giving me. Does that make sense? Because I did it for 23 years, but at some certain point, it just stopped working. And that's when I had to get sober, because getting drunk wasn't making me feel good anymore. It wasn't, thanks, mate. Getting drunk wasn't making me feel good anymore. Getting drunk wasn't fixing any problems. And hey, Dr. Dab, what's up, man? It is a selfish disease. Getting drunk wasn't fixing anything in my life. It was just amplifying it and making it that much worse. So the question is still posed. Alcoholism, is it a disease or a choice? Well, it's a chronic disease that starts as a choice. A little, in my opinion. Now, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a psychiatrist. I'm not a counselor. I'm not a health professional of any type. So I can't diagnose anybody. But I can tell myself I am an alcoholic. Because if I identify as an alcoholic in recovery, that gives me a stepping ground in order to be grateful every day. Because I know what I had in the past and I know what I want for today. So that goes with forgiving myself, right? There's a whole lot of bullcrap that we did in our drinking histories. There's a whole lot of chaos that we caused. And yes, you have to be able to forgive yourself, and you have to be able to move beyond that, if that makes sense. You can't fix certain things, and that goes with the serenity prayer, but I'm going to leave that out because I don't want to throw you guys off. I'm going to let you dwell on that just a moment. But you have to accept the things you can't change, and you have to be willing to change the things you can. Right on, right on. We had rose-colored glasses. Yes, absolutely. We had rose-colored glasses on, and everything looks normal. You're daggone right. I wish I could flip this camera around, folks. I do, because this is actually driving me a little crazy. Looking at a black screen with "Please start Orion webcam." So what I was doing is using my webcam as a phone. I'm using my phone as a webcam. Let me see if I have that still on there, because this is irritating. So what's new? Dr. Dav, 18 months. Edgar, awesome, man. 18 months of sobriety. You know what? What should have been 6 years, which a loss. That's another argument. Some folks relapse. You have 18 months, right? So get through this next 24 hours. Thank your higher power or whomever gives you strength. Take a breath, be grateful, and do it again because you can. And I got nothing but faith. We are not impenetrable, folks. Alcoholics, addicts, gamblers, whatever. We are not impervious to relapse. And that's just kind of the cost that it is to try to live sober and still face those same things in life, but now you got to do it in a different way. You know what I mean? I think I've rambled that up just a little bit. Maybe. Ugh, I'm frustrated with this thing. Let me see if I can find this. In any case, yeah, 18 months is awesome, man. Tim, Tim, keep doing the damn thing. 7 years, man. It's not about the time, though. It's about the quality of the time. That's what I always tell myself anyway. 1,000 pound gorilla. Hey, hey, you know what, Dr. Dab? 1,000 pound gorilla that phone is when time to reach out for help. So I had a significant, you know what, Tim? We're all vulnerable, man. We are all vulnerable. The beauty of, I'm not going to say the beauty, addictive people with addictive personalities, for some reason, we are, and I'm just generalizing, we're sensitive. We have generally good hearts and we're smart as hell. But the alcohol and drugs make us stupid and make us do stupid things, take over those faculties in our minds, and the alcohol and the drugs become nothing more than the survival mechanism that we just replaced everything else for. You know what I mean? I say, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? And once we do that, and again, generalizing, we lose the ability to make those conscious choices that we used to. Mine started, my loss of that faculty started way when I was like 8 years old. And I'm not gonna give you this huge like story thing, but I am gonna say that, you know, I lost my ability to make a good sound judgment when I was about 15 years old. And it didn't stop anymore. And the way that my life spiraled out of control from this disease, now you may not agree. You know, you may say it was my choice. Yes, it was my choice to try alcohol the first time. But by 15, I was already what I consider an alcoholic. No, I didn't identify with that at that time, but I was there, and I lost every ability to make a sound decision. But yet I kept convincing myself that I did. I kept convincing myself that it was my choice, and it just wasn't. I freaking lost it. So we're all vulnerable, man, and that's the reason why there's 6 people here. There was 8. We are a community recovering alcoholics and addicts. And if we share our experience, strength, and hope, we can provide hope for someone who doesn't have any. We can give them our knowledge and experience from our lessons of our alcoholism and addiction. And perhaps it will do something that you were like, oh yeah, I never looked at it like that. I never looked at, you know, 1,000 pound gorilla as a phone before. And, oh yeah, I forgot to say that one. And that's just what we do for each other in this community. And that's the reason why I think that's why I do the channel in the first place, because I can't be the only person who has struggles. I can't be the only person who, you know, is trying to stay sober. And I can't be the only person who lives in recovery or trying to. And that's why I do this channel. And I love it. Let's see. All right. Now, please stay there. I'm trying something. I'm trying something. It may or may not work, but I'm trying. Let me figure this out. I'm gonna take this. I don't want to take this. Hang on. Uh-oh. That's wrong. I'm still here, folks. Don't go away. You know what, Tim? Tim, I appreciate your comments because every one of you guys here right now are real. And that is hard to find with people who are not trying to do better for themselves, with people who live their day to day saying everything's great, everything's perfect, we don't have to make any changes. And I appreciate that. You know, on the outside, you'd never know. I was a hard candy shell. I saw a message yesterday that said, you don't look like you had health issues. You don't look like you had health problems. Well, you're daggone right, because I'm healthy now. But I digress. This freaking thing. So the point is that, you know, you would never know that I was an alcoholic for 23 years just by looking at me. You'd never know it. And Tim, I'm glad that you can admit to yourself that you're vulnerable, because if you know more about yourself, you have an ability that 99% of people walking around don't have. You know yourself. You identify your weaknesses. You identify your strengths. That's what makes successful people successful. Is we are able to analyze our weaknesses and our strengths, and where we need to fix our shortcomings and our character defects and all of those things that you hear in those rooms. If you go to those rooms, it all comes to fruition. So I'm proud of you, because if you can admit that to yourself, then you got this. And if you don't, hit me up, man. I'll give you my WhatsApp with this daggone camera. Hey, if I sound like dry oatmeal, it's because it's like 1800 here, like 1845, and I got to work tomorrow. But I'm enjoying the conversation, and I appreciate it that you guys are hanging out anyway, regardless of my lack of video. I was trying to actually tune into the other stream, and for some reason, the YouTube platform wouldn't let me on it. So I was like, "What the hell?" You're welcome, mate. So now I got to figure it out. Oh, dang on. Well, we'll go for a camera another day. I think it'll work in the very near future, though. I'm gonna do this again, and I'm actually gonna do a video for. I'm gonna do a video tomorrow discussing this whole topic about alcoholism. Is it a disease or a choice? Because the story that we can put behind our experience proves undoubtedly that alcoholism is a disease. I didn't choose to, throw all those things away for 20 years. I didn't choose it. I chose that first drink, and then it chose me. So for us to get past that and for us to build in our recovery and to grow, did I say that? I don't know. We have to be able to identify that truth. Do we suffer from a disease or do we have a choice? Because those folks who are struggling right now, they may be believing that they're just weak and they can't hack it and they can't fix themselves. They're just not right. For a lot of us, we heard that when we were younger anyway. And that's kind of what propelled us into addiction or alcoholism. At least in my case, it was. I was the middle of five kids and I was a shadow. Like I was just a blurb. So I felt, kind of cast away. And when I found alcohol, it was my solution. It was my solution that worked very well for about 10 years. And then it just took over me, you know, because if we feed our brains and bodies poison for so long, if we do that and we, toxify our brain, it's going to make changes, believe it or not. And those changes might not be what you thought you had in store for yourself. And you're right, Tim. No one wants to drink to get through the day. I used to drink, yeah, I could go through that forever. I did drink to get through the day. And I did drink to talk to my wife on the phone. And I did drink to have a good time. And I did drink to suck up the bad times. I drank for every excuse under the sun. But when it came to the point where I had to drink to control my bodily functions, I had to drink to uh, warn off the shakes and accelerated heart rate. When I had to drink to calm all that down and to not feel like I was gonna just explode, that's when I knew, dude, you're in trouble, man. You are in trouble. And by the end of it, I'm gonna tell you straight up, by the end of it, which was 2016, I had so many damn voices in my head. I couldn't tell what was what. It was just agonizing, screaming, and it just wouldn't go away. And so I thought, drink more, drink more, drink more, drink more. And it just never worked from that point on. And I was destroyed. So I don't want to see anyone get to where I was. And I can tell you that, once your life is just a minus mark, like it's hard to get it back. And I am so grateful to be here. And I'm so grateful that you guys are here. And I'm grateful to this community being people in recovery or trying to find out how to get sober and trying to make their lives a little bit better for the next 24 hours. Because that's what I'm all about. And, you know, it's real easy to say it now. It's real easy to put this out to the universe. But I couldn't even talk to myself when I was lost in my insanity. I couldn't even talk to myself anymore. I was just like, man, you're full of shit. And if my cussing, thank you, Tim. If my cussing just got you, don't worry about that. I'll curb it. Just let me know in the comments. But anyway, so let's see. Dr. Dab, man. Dr. Dab, tell me what. Tell me what you think. Actually, don't. I'm not going to put you on the spot. Dr. Dab has a lot of great insight. And I think Edgar and Tim, I think if you guys conversed like later on, I don't know you, Dr. Dab, but I know you are very smart. And I know that you have a lot of experience. At least that's what I think. Because every time you speak, you're awesome. If our language bothers you, call your sponsor. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. So my story about the sponsor, right? You're welcome, mate. My story about the sponsor. Dr. Dab, when you said the 1,000 pound phone, the gorilla, the last time, literally, the last time I relapsed, I had gone to a meeting probably 2 days prior, and everything was looking okay. Everything was, how do you know you're an alcoholic? Mott, hey, welcome, man. Honestly, if you drink beyond the consequences, regardless of what's going to happen, and you still drink anyway, that's a good chance. Um, but I cannot say you're an alcoholic. Um, but we can tell you about our experience, if that helps. Yeah. So 2 days prior to this relapse, and I'm not dismissing you, Mott. I'm coming right back to it. 2 days prior to this relapse, I was at an AA meeting and I was talking to my sponsor, and we were just BSing, and he looked at me and he goes, "Hey man, are you okay?" I was like, "Yeah, why would you ask me that?" He's like, "I don't know. Something feels off." I was like, "Nah, nah, I'm good. I'm good, man. Thank you." I'm not gonna say his name. And so the meeting was over, and um, I we were getting ready to leave, and he just asked me one more time. He's like, "Hey, if you need anything at all, you call me." And I was like, "Yeah, yeah, I got you. I'll call you." And he's like, "All right, good luck." So I got home and I had a fight with my wife. And before I knew it, before I even blinked my eye, I had another case of beer in front of me. And I was like, what the hell? And so I drank probably for the next year. Yeah, I was gone. And when he found out, he wasn't mad. I mean, come on, we're human. We have imperfect lives. That we had one solution that we relied on for so long. But he said to me, he said, "Man, why didn't you call me?" And I was like, "I thought about it." So, point of that is, don't just think about it. If you need help, you call somebody immediately before it becomes something you can't take back. I was, I was lost, and relapses happen. Bad thing about relapse is you might not make it back though. So you always roll the dice when you go back out, and you always take a chance that you're not coming back. And Mott, if that makes any sense, let me know, man. Because if you drink beyond the consequences of what happens, who you affect, what you do, if you have money, if you don't have money, if your organs are failing and you drink anyway, hell, I used to have straight teeth. Want to know what happened? I couldn't drink fast enough. So I took all the braces off myself. I plied them off. And I plied them off, pried them off. And now I don't have straight teeth anymore because I took my own braces off so I could drink better. Is that stupid? that's pretty that's pretty daggone bizarre. But if you're an alcoholic like me, that makes sense to you. Exactly. Exactly, Dr. Dab. I cannot truly diagnose a alcoholic. Only the person can decide if they have a problem until they do. They are the problem. You know what, Dr. Dab? See, I nailed it. You're brilliant. You're right. I said something like that a little bit ago, but I can't remember the exact words. Mott, we're here for you though. if you need some help, I want to cut down, but I get in trouble when I'm too drunk. Uh, Let me ask you this. Um, this is out to everybody because I don't want to like have sidebars. We've been rolling for 45 minutes, and I appreciate everybody hanging with me with no visual. And I might catch some hate mail for the other one not working, but I don't know. Whatever, I tried. I'm here, and you're here, so thank you. If you get drunk and you do stupid stuff, how many more times of having a few before it becomes too much of a problem are you willing to wait? Yeah, 45 more would be great. Oh, because a friend of mine, and I'm not going to say their name either, a friend of mine he drinks a lot of vodka every single day. Every single day. And I love him. I generally love this dude. And he's been to the hospital quite a few times. He's seized. And the other day he told me, and it was heartbreaking because he said he was going to go to rehab and everything else. And I had his back. Matter of fact, guys, if this channel ever takes off, all this money is going to trying to send people to rehab who can't afford it. Just to let you know. So he told me the other day. He called me and he said, "You know what? I'm okay. I'm just going to drink moderately for the rest of my life." This is from someone who consumes large quantities of vodka every single night, who has been to the hospital many, many times, who has had liver damage, and is on the brink of dying. So I don't know if I have a few, I'm okay. No, I can't judge you, bro. I can't judge you. I won't take your inventory, but I will say I wouldn't do it. Mott, I wouldn't do it. But that's up to you, bro. And if you need anything, you just hit us up, man. We got you. We will do what we can. Because that's what we do in this community. All right. So anyway, anyone got any questions, comments, concerns? I don't know what the time delay is on this chat. I'm sure with my bandwidth, it's probably a long time. Because in this village, believe it or not, we got like Stone Age internet. You guys are awesome. I appreciate it. And I don't know what happened to. That's it. That's it, Dr. Deb. We never take another's inventory. You're right. You're right about that because I can't tell you what's right for you and I can't tell you what's wrong for you. I can only be here to help you maybe get to your solution through experiences and through sharing, what we went through. And if it resonates with you, right on. If it's something you want to boomerang and just throw it back, that's okay too. I have a saying that I used to tell my soldiers. I will let you fall, but I will never let you fail. Makes sense? But only you can be that person that makes the last determination.
Der japanische Filmkomponist, Musiker, Schauspieler und Produzent Ryuichi Sakamoto ist tot. Er starb bereits am vergangenen Dienstag im Alter von 71 Jahren, wie sein Büro heute bekannt gab. Sakamoto schrieb unter anderem.
Did Tim, are you asking me that? Did you think you could ever give up? Man, you're welcome, bro. And I appreciate you, Dr. Deb. You're awesome too. Mott, hey man, hang on. I'm going to put my email in the, I'll try, put my email in this chat. If you need it, man, this is some techie tardy stuff. Okay, there we go. If you need it, Mott, or whoever, or you want to pass it on to somebody else, do that. Email me, and I will make sure that I put you into my WhatsApp. Good Lord. I hit one button, and it takes like 4 minutes to translate to the keyboard. I think I got it. Hang on, I hit enter. It'll be about 4 minutes. I think it just went. Yep, that's it right there. One sober to another at gmail.com. So anybody who's on here and anybody who you think could use my email, feel free. That's what it's there for. And if you want me to add you to my WhatsApp, let me know and I'll do that. Hold on. Dr. Deb, quick story, a swimming pool, a garbage can, a salt shaker. How much do you love your whatever kid's wife? How much do you love yourself? That's a great question. And today, I love myself monumentally, and that allows me to love everybody else. And Mott, that's exactly it. You have to appreciate yourself. You have to know that it's okay that you may not have all the answers, but as long as we keep sharing our experience, strength, and hope, we will get there. We will get through this wonderful life together. Guys, I got to go. I appreciate you. I will have another live stream. Please look out for the next video. It is going to be on exactly the topic of alcoholism. Is it a disease or a choice? As well as another one on the horizon of the softer side of Sears, which is how has my life changed since I got sober? Because there are certain behaviors that we used to have that destroyed people. And there are certain behaviors that I don't carry anymore. So I just want to share that with you guys. Thank you and have a good evening. Ecker, I didn't forget about you, man. Have a good night. Awesome, man.